Good morning, good afternoon, and good night. My name is Mark Fice Jr. This is Become the podcast. How do you become anything you dream, you declare, you commit, and success is your next breath. Shout out to Mitch Valley for giving me that tagline. I'm here with Simon. He's looking a little restless. We got to get some lunch pretty soon, so I'll make this one quick. But I had experienced something yesterday and it inspired this podcast on patience. So about 3 years, so I got a call yesterday to go do some work for someone I did 3 years ago. And 3 years ago, I was given an opportunity to speak for the athletic department at Henry Ford Community College. And they were doing an orientation for their incoming freshmen, or this incoming athletes, or their incoming class. And so it was a big time. It was a big opportunity because I'm pretty sure I put out some fillers. Somebody bit, and they said, can you come here and do a keynote, inspirational, encouragement type of, presentation or speech for the kids. And so I say, absolutely, I'm there. So this was right around the time where my concepts were starting to crystallize. There was a time where I had concepts that the beginning was strong, but the ending wasn't as strong. They weren't complete. And in developing complete concepts, the concept has to have a beginning and end, but it also has to have levels to it so that you can adjust the concepts to different people, right? In different situations, from different backgrounds, and so on and so forth. And my concepts weren't quite there in the beginning, obviously, but as it relates to this opportunity that I had 3 years ago, my concepts were starting to crystallize. They were starting to be complete. I was starting to develop the beginning and the end. I was starting to understand the levels and all the nuances that would allow me to talk to just about anybody and give them this concept and show them how to apply it. So because of where I was in my development as an inspirational speaker, where my concepts were in their development, to have the stage, to be in front of hundreds of people, to be working with higher education, it was a big deal. To have the time that I had, there was like a 30 to 45 minute opportunity for me to speak. On top of that, there was some pressure added to it. If I did a really good job in front of these people, in front of this school and the AD and all of the other people that were involved, I could potentially get hired back. So it was a lot of pressure to it. It wasn't come talk to my basketball camp, come talk to my my AU practice or anything like that. There was some pressure attached to it. And typically I had opportunities to talk. And if I didn't do well, I could always be physical. I could always show somebody a drill. I could always show somebody a shooting technique or dribbling technique or something like that. But without the opportunity to get physical and use my physical abilities to kind of, impress people, I had to rely solely on my concepts. I had to rely solely on my ability to speak, so on and so forth. So this was a very, very high-pressured and big opportunity for me. To say the least, I did a really, really good job. I don't say I considering where I was then, I did a good job, okay? And then a couple weeks after that, they were doing some, they would always do this either weekly or monthly leadership development session with kids who were either on some sort of probation program, or they were leaders of some sort of student org or something like that. And they put the leadership piece on it to make kids feel special about what they were getting, what they were involved in. And even if someone was kind of making sure that they were going to class and doing all those things, the leadership piece made them hopefully it was like a disguise or a pseudo trick to make them feel a little bit more confident about coming to this weekly or monthly meeting where they were supposed to be checked on, but it would also give them some opportunity to experience leadership development, so on and so forth. So they called me in the morning, and I'm thinking it's something like 10 o'clock, and they said, can you be here by 12? So because they wanted the person that they had in mind canceled, and they needed somebody to speak. They didn't have anybody in house to do it. So me being eager, me being willing and hungry, I said absolutely, I'll be there. So I quickly leave from wherever I am. I go change clothes. I think luckily, somehow I was able to get a babysitter for Lucy on the spot. Everything worked out, and I took off, went down to wherever I had to be, did a good job. I wasn't as prepared this time, and I could feel myself kind of losing my way because everything was impromptu. But there was a moment at the end where someone asked me a question, and I was able to kind of do a deep dive into this question, and it ended up being a really, really awesome experience. And so at the end of the day, I did come through. At the end of the day, I did deliver, even though it wasn't what I would consider my best work. Under the circumstances, I did a pretty good job. And so the AD said, man, Marv, I am so thankful for you coming and helping us out under such short notice. And she says, I'm on a board with all of the ADs and some administrative figures with the junior colleges of Michigan. And so I'm on a board that gives input to different ideas and different initiatives. And she says, then I'm at all the meetings with these people, and so I get a chance to engage with all of the ADs and all of the important people involved with these schools. She says, I'm going to make sure that your number and your name gets passed along. And I'm thinking, considering what I just did, I came through the first time, and then you needed me on short notice. I came through the second time, and I was there. And so I said, this lady, I had a feeling in my heart and my soul, and I said, this lady is going to definitely let people know about me, and I'm going to get some opportunities. Not one person called my phone. Not one. They didn't call me. And then I learned after 2 years that she left. And so I was like, well, that's over with. You know what I'm saying? That's done. And I was out of the practice of touching base with higher education institutions and giving them my information. Or I was doing it a little bit different. So anyway, I just kind of chalked it up, and definitely I remember that time. I was able to get it captured on film. Someone recently said I watched that. They were looking up my information, and they said, "Listen, I want to let you know that I saw what you did at Henry Ford." I said, "Oh my God, that was 3 years ago." And I'm thinking about what I am now versus what I was then in terms of my presentation, in terms of my execution, my understanding of my concepts, and the depth in which I deliver the concepts now. And I'm just kind of embarrassed because I'm thinking I'm so much better than what I was. I hope that isn't indicative of what you think I am now. And so it's ironic that somebody that same school, after hearing this person say that they watched me do that speech, it was ironic that same school then called me back yesterday, and they were inquiring if I was still involved in inspirational speaking. They're having a leadership summit that they want me to speak at as a keynote speaker, and here we are. And so I'll be doing a 90-minute session on leadership at Henry Ford Community College with some of their student leaders. And this is what inspired the message for the day, and that is patience. Patience is such a big part of success. I waited for 3 years, and I would say I waited for maybe a year, maybe two, and then I had just been done with it, because I'm thinking, okay, well, I got hired in to speak for Henry Ford for something that happened during orientation. So maybe I'll get hired the next year to do something with orientation. Or maybe if they want somebody new, great, that's fantastic. But maybe I'll get a call in the summertime as they're planning for their student life initiatives, and I'll get something. I may not be a part of the orientation, but there may be something else that I'll be a part of. Maybe I'll do the leadership piece again. And I didn't get anything. And so after that third year, out of sight, out of mind. And then I learned that the person that hired me in to do the work initially had moved on. So I'm thinking to myself, well, that's a wrap for that. I probably won't do anything with Henry Ford. Not anytime soon. And so it was just over with. But that patience thing is incredible, man, because it took them 3 years for somebody to connect with me. And the person calls me and says, I talked to Rochelle. I think that was the AD's name. Said I talked to Rochelle, and she left me your contact information when she left. And we are in need of this service, and we want to know if you want to be involved. And and she says, I just want to know if you were still doing inspirational speaking. And I told her, I said, yes, I am doing inspirational speaking, and I'm 3 years better. And so she was like, oh, wow. And so after that, I was able to hopefully impress her with my understanding of with my understanding of student life, having gotten a degree in higher education, and also being at the U of M and working for Concordia, working for U of M, and also working at Eastern. My understanding of students and student life and kind of how it all kind of ties together, and why it's so important to have these programmatic spaces that allow for kids to learn in a different way, through facilitation, through dialogue. That understanding helped me, because I was able to, I think, impress her in a very short amount of time that not only am I still in speaking, but I'm also very aware of what college-age kids needs in order to succeed and to make the best of their college experience. And so be patient. Be patient, one. And two, while you're being patient, keep working. Keep working, because what happens is when you want something real bad, and then you got to be patient and work, and you got to be patient until that time comes. If you're working, the wait doesn't seem so long. It's the equivalent to going to the Secretary of State and you bring an iPad or you bring your phone and you lock in on a podcast, or you lock in on YouTube, or you lock in on the new album that just came out and you got your headphones in, or you lock in into something that's engaging, that kind of captures your attention, or maybe your brain power, or maybe it's a app, you know what I'm saying? Maybe, some cool app just came out and it's a game and it's fun, or whatever the case may be. And so you just lock in, and that's what work is like. You know what I'm saying? You're waiting here, you got about an hour wait, 45-minute wait, all depending on what it is. And it could be something, it has to be Secretary of State, it could be anything. But you got to wait here for a while. But if you just sit there, that might make that wait seem really, really long. But however, if you occupy yourself, now all of a sudden the wait doesn't seem so long, right? And sometimes, and if you listen to a previous podcast, I was saying that sometimes while you're working, the work may get boring, the work may frustrate you, the work may turn you off. Your work, the stuff that you're so passionate about, may turn you off. There's a line that says the same thing that make you laugh will make you cry, right? So here you are passionate about something and you love it, but at some point the wait gets frustrating, the work gets frustrating, and all of a sudden you are turned off by the work. And so sometimes while you're waiting and you're working and your work gets boring, sometimes you got to do different work to inspire you to reconnect with the initial work that you were working on, right? So if my genius level talent is music, right, and I'm playing the music, and the music that I'm doing is boring, it's uninspiring, I'm not turned on by my work, I don't get excited to sit down and write music or whatever the case may be, music wise, I'm just not really thrilled with it. I might paint. Maybe painting is a hobby of mine that gets the creative juices flowing. Then and I can take that creative energy and infuse it back into my singing or my music or depending on what it is I'm doing. And so sometimes you gotta find ways to keep the energy fresh and keep the work fresh, right? But you can't allow the work to frustrate you and get you down so much so that while you're waiting, you stop working. Because if you stop working while you're waiting, then when your opportunity comes, you're not going to be ready, right? And so I can tell you this, I've been working. Whether I was actually on the stage, whether I'm writing a book, whether I'm working on my curriculum, whether I'm working on posts, whether I'm doing the Facebook Live video, whether I'm doing a podcast, whether I'm reading, whether I'm listening to somebody else and taking pointers, whatever the case may be, I've been working. So when when the lady calls from Henry Ford and says, are you still at it? Oh, yes, I am at it. And I'm 3 years better. And I will crush and run circles around the person that you got 3 years ago. And so the message is stay engaged, keep working. While you're waiting, work. That makes the wait seem less, right? And also you're preparing for that moment. And that's a great way to get another moment in your life. A great way to get another moment in your life is to keep working and working on your craft, because you're showing your higher divinity, you're showing your God, you're showing the universe, listen, I really want this. And I want it so bad that I'm willing to work even when the phone isn't ringing. All right? And that's how you get better, man, and you show and prove. So with that being said, I'm going to let you go. 15 minutes, not too bad. It's going back to the old days when I used to do 15-minute podcasts, and that was it. But I'll leave it at that. Greatness lives on the edge of death, and I'm not afraid to die. Will fight for my brother. I will celebrate my brother, and I will die for my brother. Oh wait, I'm sorry. That's what we used to say before we played a basketball game. But I remember I changed it for the podcast. So, greatness lives at the edge of death. I am not afraid to die. I will fight for my dreams. I will celebrate my dreams, and I will die for my dreams. Thoughts are things, and everything starts off as a thought first. It springs from a place of mindfulness and clarity. Work while you wait. Work while you wait, and understand that patience is a big part of success. Patience is a big part of progression. Marfax Jr., done.